What's up, guys? This is Alex with Unlock Your Wellness. Got a quick little video today on chelation therapy and why I'm not a huge fan of it. Chelate means to grab or hold on to. And chelation therapy is essentially using a chemical substance that can grab onto or bind or rip out specific toxins, heavy metals from tissues in the body. And there are both synthetic and natural types of chelators. For example, dimercaprol, EDTA, DMSO, and even turmeric has been known to chelate heavy metals. But there are many problems with heavy metal chelation. First off, it randomly removes minerals from the body. So the chelating agent can't really tell the metal from the mineral. It doesn't really see a difference between those two. So as much as it might bind to and grab onto the metals, it's going to do the same for your zinc and your magnesium and your calcium and all of these essential nutrients that you need. And that's not good, right? So you might end up feeling worse off, as many people do, because of this phenomenon. You might also feel worse because it's very taxing on your detox organs, on your liver, your gallbladder, your kidneys. When you're moving all these chemicals around in a very chaotic way, it demands a lot of energy from these organs. And it's quite stressful. And if your organs are already very taxed and stressed out, you're going to be feeling that for a while as you recover from this very big stress on your body. I've heard from a number of people that have done this and might feel a little bit better, and maybe it gets some symptoms to go away, but they regret it because of how harmful it was on their liver and on their kidneys. Chelation also rapidly shifts the pH, the chemistry of the body, and the body has to then basically rush to bring it back to homeostasis. That demands a lot of energy. The chelators often don't thoroughly remove the metals from tissues. So for example, cadmium settles very deep into certain cellular compartments. It's going to be very difficult, like extremely difficult, for a chelating agent to ever get a cadmium molecule out, especially if it's been there for a very long time. Usually just works around organs near larger blood vessels. And ironically, some natural chelators actually contain heavy metals themselves. Additionally, many of the chelators don't address all of the toxic heavy metals. So some of the lesser known ones, these ones might not be addressed as the more commonly known ones like arsenic and lead and mercury, for example. And additionally, at this point in time, there is actually no known heavy metal chelator that reliably removes cadmium from your body. Cadmium also happens to be one of, if not the most toxic heavy metals. This next point I think is maybe the most important of all, and that's it doesn't address the deeper root causes or potential root causes of illness, which would be, for example, imbalances in your minerals, deficiencies in your minerals, or chronic viral loads, right? Chronic infections that might be suppressing your system that your immune system just isn't strong enough to deal with. So you're potentially not addressing the root cause of your chronic health issues in the most productive way. Another crucial point is that it's forcing your body to remove metals in an order and pace that it might not be ready for. This is especially important if you're very weak and have low energy. But in contrast, in another way to address heavy metal toxicity called mineral balancing, which I'll talk more about later, you're actually supporting the body's ability to detox and allowing the body to take care of the metals in the order and pace that it feels comfortable to do so. And you usually see the body eliminating the lighter metals like aluminum and nickel first, and later on working on heavier, more toxic metals like mercury and lead. So it's actually more productive if you support the body's innate wisdom, because the organism is never wrong, right? The body is very intelligent, and you want to basically allow it, right? Support it to work its magic. Chelation does not do this. It's forcing the body to do something it might not want to do. A very key concept you should know about is ionic mimicry. This idea is that minerals and metals have very similar chemical structures. This means that if you have mineral imbalances and deficiencies, you are more likely going to accumulate heavy metals as they are in your environment. You're going to more readily bring them in and store them into your tissues. You don't have anything to defend against them. But your body actually uses these metals, even though they're very toxic and harmful and inflammatory to your body, but they serve serve a purpose, right? They can operate at maybe 10 to 15% efficiency, and that's better than you being dead. So some examples of this would be cadmium in place of zinc, lead in place of calcium, and aluminum in place of magnesium. You can actually thank your body for using these metals in an effort to keep you alive for your own survival. But where chelation comes in is that you might be sick and you go for chelation and it ends up ripping out these metals that are actually in places that are supporting you, albeit not very well, but still supporting you. And if you don't have an essential mineral to replace the metal where it is in your cells, you are most likely going to feel worse. And I've heard of people needing to go to the hospital after doing one round of chelation. And this can explain why, right? Because you're not nourishing your body, you're not replacing the metal in the cell where your cell can actually work. All that being said, there are definitely cases where heavy metal chelation is appropriate. It might be appropriate. Firstly, is if you have an acute exposure to a heavy metal. If you are messing around with a mercury thermometer and it breaks and you get exposed to the mercury, go to the hospital, go to the emergency room, go ahead and do chelation. It will probably make the most sense and it will protect you in that case. If you happen to have very high blood serum levels of certain metals and you've had them for a long time, it might make sense for you to use chelation to get the levels lower in your blood. It's not always the case though. Some cases would be good, some cases not so much. So it really depends on your full picture. If you are not severely toxic and you have not been chronically ill for years or decades, it might make sense for you to do chelation. However, if you've been chronically ill for years or decades and you have a ton of chronic health issues, it's probably going to be an additional stress on your body, and it can basically redistribute the metals, force your organs to work really hard, and it might send you even deeper into illness. Another thing to keep in mind is that not all chelators are the same, right? Some chelators are better than others. For example, amerimide is sort of lesser known heavy metal chelator, but people have expressed a lot of good results with it, especially with mercury toxicity. So you might have to look around for one like this. You might have to do your research, but there are definitely some good options, some productive options out there as long as you are careful about it. Now, what about mineral balancing and hair tissue mineral analysis? And why do I think mineral balancing is the most productive way at addressing heavy metal toxicity? Number one is that it's actually designed to support the body in eliminating the heavy metals when it's appropriate, when it's ready. And it does this by optimizing and increasing the production of cellular energy and improving and opening up the detox pathways. We're using the body's innate wisdom and supporting that process so that the body can take care of business. We're stepping out, right? We're getting out of the body's way and letting it work its magic. And also deeply nourishing and remineralizing the body so that the body can push the minerals in place of where the metals have been. And because everyone in the world is deficient and toxic to some degree, it is always going to be necessary to remineralize your body and your terrain. So if you're just focusing on getting the metals out without getting the minerals in that you're definitely deficient in, if you're living in the modern world, you're definitely deficient, then you're missing something. Mineral balancing addresses every one of these pieces. And that's why it's really the best. We're supporting the body, we're healing the body, and the metals just come out as a result of that. It's a beautiful thing. So if you're interested in mineral balancing, you want to learn more, you want to get a hair test or go on a mineral balancing program, please reach out. There's my email. You have my website there as well. You're welcome to sign up for a free consult. The link is in the description below. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you got some value from it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.